Hey, don't eat that. The voice echoed through the sophisticated venue, drawing attention like a shout out of place amidst the polite murmur of the patrons. Elon Musk, seated at a reserved table in the center of Manhattan's most luxurious restaurant, froze mid-motion as he was about to take a bite of Wagyu tartare with black truffles. He blinked, confused, and looked around to identify the source of the alarm. At the restaurant's entrance, a skinny boy with worn clothes and an urgent expression was walking toward him. Despite his disheveled appearance, he moved with a determination that seemed to ignore the conventions of the setting. "Don't eat that," the boy repeated, his firm voice contrasting with his frail stature. The previously tranquil environment froze. Waiters, patrons, and even the maitre d', used to celebrities and influential figures, fell into absolute silence. Elon slowly set his fork down on the plate, intrigued. He looked at the boy, now standing a few steps away, his eyes fixed on the food as if it were a mortal threat. "Why shouldn't I eat this?" Elon asked, his voice low but full of curiosity. The boy took a deep breath, pointing at the plate with a trembling hand. "Because I already know what happens to those who eat it." Etoile, a restaurant known for its exclusivity and refinement, was the kind of place only the wealthiest could frequent. Its glass ceiling allowed the city lights to illuminate the dining area like a movie scene, while every detail, from the golden cutlery to the linen tablecloths, exuded luxury. Elon Musk, one of the wealthiest men in the world, was no stranger to such environments. Despite his casual style and irreverent personality, he occasionally indulged in the charm of a refined evening. That dinner was supposed to be a moment of relaxation, a pause in his chaotic schedule of meetings and interplanetary projects. "What exactly do you know about this dish?" Elon asked, crossing his arms. His tone was not one of irritation but of genuine curiosity. The boy hesitated for a moment, as if weighing the risk of speaking. Then, he leaned forward and whispered, "I've seen this before. People eat this kind of food and then bad things happen. Really bad things." The claim was vague, almost ridiculous, but there was something in the boy's eyes that piqued Elon's interest. He turned to the waiter beside him. "The tartare was prepared safely, right?" The waiter, visibly uncomfortable with the situation, confirmed. "Certainly, Mr. Musk. We use the finest ingredients, as always. This is our most requested dish." The boy shook his head, interrupting. "This isn't about the ingredients. It's about where this meat came from. You don't know what's behind it." The entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath. Patrons discreetly picked up their phones to record the scene while Elon studied the boy with a mix of skepticism and fascination. "Where was the meat produced?" Musk asked, now directing the question to the waiter. The waiter hesitated. "It's from an exclusive farm in Japan, sir. The same one that supplies all the world's top restaurants." The boy took a step forward. "And do you know what happens on those farms? Do you know how they treat the animals? How they force things that should never be forced? I've seen it. With my own eyes." The boy's words echoed in Elon's mind. He was no stranger to controversy or the impact of his actions on the world. Projects like Tesla and SpaceX were frequently criticized, and he knew better than anyone that even the most sophisticated systems could hide terrible flaws. "How did you see this?" Elon asked, leaning slightly forward. The boy, still with a determined gaze, replied, "I lived near one of those farms. I know what they do. It's not natural. It's not safe. You might think you're eating luxury, but you're eating poison." The silence in the restaurant was deafening. Every word the boy spoke seemed to carry the weight of a dark secret, something no one there was prepared to face. Elon looked at the plate again, this time with less appetite and more doubt. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lucas," the boy replied. Elon signaled to the waiter, who quickly removed the plate. "Very well, Lucas," Musk said, standing up. "You have my attention. Why don't you tell me more about this?" Lucas hesitated, as if deciding whether he could trust Elon Musk. The entire restaurant was silent, and the bright lights seemed to heighten the pressure. But the boy knew he didn't have much to lose. He took a deep breath and began to speak. The farm that produced that meat. I've seen what they do there. It's not just cruel. It's wrong. They manipulate the animals, inject them with things to make them grow faster, to make them look more sophisticated. But that's not the worst. The meat is toxic. And it's not just for the animals. It's for the people who eat it. I've seen it happen. Elon kept his gaze fixed on Lucas, processing every word. Something in the boy's tone was impossible to ignore. Did you work on one of these farms? Musk asked, trying to grasp the depth of what he was hearing. Lucas shook his head. No. I grew up near one. My family worked nearby, and I used to go there to help. That's how I saw things no one should see. Some people got sick. Others, well, they're not here to tell the story anymore. The boy's statement made the air in the restaurant feel heavier. Patrons began whispering, and some discreetly left their tables. Elon Musk, known for his insatiable curiosity and aversion to leaving questions unanswered, stood up and cast a determined look at Lucas. If this is true, I need to see it for myself. The boy blinked, surprised by the straightforward response. You want to go there? Now. Yes, Elon replied, adjusting the hood of his sweatshirt. He turned to the maitre d'. Close my tab. And please let the chef know I'll have some questions about his suppliers. The maitre d', visibly nervous, simply nodded. Lucas looked at Musk with a mix of admiration and skepticism. He hadn't expected someone like him, a billionaire accustomed to comfort and power, to be willing to confront something so dark and unknown. All right. But you'll need me to get there. Then let's go, Musk said with a slight smile. Hours later, Elon and Lucas were on a deserted road, inside one of Musk's electric cars. Lucas gave directions while Elon drove silently, listening attentively. The farm is huge, Lucas explained. They say it's sustainable, that they use cutting-edge technology. But what they actually do is terrifying. And no one reports it. Elon asked, his eyes fixed on the road. Who would report it? They have money. A lot of money. They buy everyone's silence. Lucas paused, looking out the window as if reliving memories he'd rather forget. My mom died after working near them. We couldn't prove anything, but I know it was because of the things they do there. The silence that followed was heavy with tension. Elon knew he was venturing into delicate territory, but he couldn't ignore what he'd heard. When they finally reached the farm, it was nighttime. The facilities were enormous, illuminated by white lights that gave the place an almost clinical appearance. But as they approached, Lucas pointed toward a more secluded area. That's where the worst things happen. The experiments. They never let anyone in there. Elon parked the car and looked at the boy. You brought me here. Now it's my turn to investigate. Be careful, Lucas warned. If they catch you, you could get into trouble. Elon gave a faint smile. Lucas, I've dealt with much bigger problems. Wait here. Using his resourcefulness, Elon sneaked into the facility, avoiding the security cameras. As he walked through the pristine corridors, he began to notice something strange. Massive metal tanks were lined up, each connected to computers monitoring incomprehensible parameters. He approached one of the tanks and looked inside. What he saw made him recoil in horror. This can't be real, he murmured. Inside the tank was an animal that barely resembled a cow. It was a bloated creature, its body scarred from evident experiments. Its eyes, eerily human-like, stared back at him with an expression of suffering. Elon pulled out his phone and began recording, documenting everything he saw. As he moved through the facility, he found more tanks, more creatures, and more signs that this luxury meat was far from natural. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Intruder detected. Elon ran, clutching his phone tightly. He knew what he had uncovered was too significant to ignore. Back at the car, Lucas was waiting anxiously. So, what did you see? Everything, Elon replied, still out of breath. And you were right. Now, we need to show the world. Lucas smiled for the first time in a long time. Finally, someone had listened to his story and was willing to act. In the days that followed, Elon Musk used his influence and the footage he had recorded to expose the truth about the farm. The media erupted with the story, and the restaurant that served the meat became the target of intense investigations. More importantly, Lucas was no longer just a homeless boy. He became a symbol of courage and determination, someone who dared to shout, "Don't eat that," and changed everything. The end.